Picture this. Claressa Shields, the self-proclaimed GWOT, stepping into her 30s like a queen crowned in diamonds, blessings, and #screaming #golden year. On the surface, it's a fairy tale moment. A woman reflecting on her flaws, but thanking God for lifting her higher every year. But look closer, and that glittering birthday post feels less like celebration and more like camouflage. Because behind the smiles, the balloons, and the captions dripping with forgiveness and healing, lurks a Vegas rumor too messy to ignore. Yes, while Claressa told the world she's entering her golden chapter, whispers say she was spotted with none other than Lil Scrappy in what insiders call an intimate Vegas night that could shake everything she's built. Suddenly, her line about more forgiveness doesn't sound so random. It sounds like damage control. And then there's Tony Rich, her fiancé, who once again finds himself humiliated by scandal he didn't ask for. Fans are split, half cheering Claressa's glow-up, the other half calling it a cover-up. So which is it? A golden birthday or a golden distraction? Stay tuned, because the truth hiding under the celebration is about to spill. This is Celebrity Press, where secrets explode before your eyes. And also like and subscribe to a channel for more interesting latest updates. So, buckle up. Claressa Shields called it her golden year, the big celebration of stepping into her 30s, a milestone most people reach quietly. But Claressa? Oh no. She turned it into a whole production. The Instagram captions were overflowing with more blessings, more forgiveness, more healing, like a sermon disguised as a birthday post. Her pictures screamed confidence, her tone screamed gratitude, but her timing? That screamed something else entirely. Because just days earlier, whispers about a scandal in Vegas had started swirling, tying her name to none other than Lil Scrappy. Yes, Lil Scrappy, the Atlanta rapper with a history of chaos that somehow managed to collide with the so-called greatest woman of all time's brand new, clean slate image. Tell me that's not suspicious. The birthday post looked polished, but fans noticed the cracks. Why does she sound defensive in every line? One commenter asked. Sis is preaching about forgiveness, like she already did something that needs forgiving, another fan added. And honestly, they weren't wrong. Claressa didn't just thank God and move on. She made a checklist of everything a guilty person would want. Money, blessings, healing, growth. Who does that unless they're trying to cover something? Social media detectives know the game. When a celebrity suddenly floods their feed with positivity, it usually means the negativity is already on its way. But let's rewind to the root of it all, the Vegas night. According to an anonymous source close to the situation, Claressa wasn't just in Vegas for fun. She was there for business meetings, sponsorship talks, all the usual professional cover stories. But the problem? Lil Scrappy was spotted in the same luxury hotel, at the same private lounge, and later at the same afterparty. Coincidence? Maybe. But the whispers say it was more than that. A so-called intimate night, away from the cameras, where the energy between the boxing champ and the rapper wasn't exactly businesslike. Some fans claim they saw them leaving together. Others say the entire story was manufactured by people who hate Claressa's rise. But the timing couldn't have been worse. And poor Tony Rich, once again stuck in the shadows of Claressa's mess. This man is supposed to be her fiancé, her partner, her stability. But instead, his name trends online every time Claressa gets caught in a news storm. Tony deserves better, one fan tweeted. Imagine buying her a $90,000 bracelet and she's out in Vegas with Lil Scrappy? That tweet alone went viral, pulling thousands of likes and replies. The narrative quickly shifted. Was Claressa using Tony as her public stability while entertaining chaos behind closed doors? Here's the kicker. Claressa's camp has stayed silent. No denials, no clarifications, just that shiny birthday post full of God talk. But silence speaks louder than words, especially when the internet already smells blood. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time her personal life has bled into public scandal. People remember the shady moments, the arguments, the subtle digs. So when Claressa tries to sweep the Vegas whispers under the rug with glittery captions, the audience isn't fooled. They've seen this movie before, and they know how it ends. Badly. Now, Lil Scrappy's role in this isn't innocent either. The man has a reputation for being messy, for attaching himself to situations that generate headlines. Some fans think he deliberately leaned into this one, knowing full well that Claressa's name would amplify his relevance. After all, what better way to trend again than being linked to the GWAT herself? It's the kind of PR move that screams desperation, but in the entertainment industry, desperate works. Scrappy knows the game, and he plays it well. Meanwhile, Claressa's followers kept dissecting every word of her birthday post. More forgiveness, she wrote. Forgiveness for what? More healing. Healing from who? And the big one. More growth. Growth after a scandal? Growth after sneaking around? The irony is, the captions that were supposed to inspire actually added gasoline to the fire. Fans don't miss a beat, and in the gossip era, a vague word is an open invitation to conspiracy theories. Anonymous insiders even claimed that Tony confronted Claressa privately about the Vegas whispers. Supposedly, he asked her directly if she had been with Scrappy that night, and her answer? A dodge. Instead of denying it, she allegedly flipped the script, accusing him of not trusting her and saying, "If I was with Scrappy, you'd already see the proof." Which, of course, only made the situation worse. Because when someone doesn't say no, the answer usually feels like a yes. The internet ran with it. Memes popped up overnight. Side-by-side pictures of Claressa in her birthday gown and Scrappy at the same Vegas hotel. Comments like "golden year" or "golden lies" flooded her Instagram. And the narrative kept shifting away from her achievements and back into the mud of scandal. Which raises the question, was Claressa's 30th birthday celebration about her blessings? Or was it about burying a mistake before it exploded? The saddest part? This was supposed to be her glow-up moment. She earned the right to celebrate after years of dominating boxing, breaking barriers, and proving herself as the GWAT. But instead of headlines about her career, the world is now talking about her personal life, her fiancé's embarrassment, and her rumored link to Lil Scrappy. And the worst part? Claressa seems to know it. That's why her captions had that edge of defensiveness, that undertone of "please believe me." Because when a woman's blessings are real, she doesn't have to convince anyone. They speak for themselves. The Vegas whispers refuse to die, and with every day that Claressa stays silent, the story grows stronger. Tony Rich's humiliation grows heavier. Lil Scrappy's name trends higher. And Claressa's carefully crafted golden year starts to look like a tarnished crown. Fans are asking the questions she refuses to answer, and every unanswered question becomes another weapon against her. The truth is simple. You can't preach forgiveness while hiding secrets. You can't post about blessings while your fiancé looks like the biggest fool in the room. And you definitely can't celebrate a golden birthday when the world thinks you're guilty of Vegas shame. Claressa may have wanted her 30s to start with glory, but instead, they've started with gossip. And in this industry, gossip always wins. So, what really happened in Vegas? Was it just two celebrities crossing paths, or something far more intimate? Why did Claressa feel the need to emphasize forgiveness and healing right after those rumors broke? And how long before Tony Rich finally says he's had enough? The answers are coming, but not yet. Because this story isn't done. Not by a long shot. Because the biggest twist? There's talk of receipts. Screenshots, leaked texts, maybe even video proof that could confirm everything the internet has been whispering. If those receipts ever surface, Claressa's golden year will be remembered not for her blessings, but for her betrayal. And if you thought the Vegas whispers were bad, wait until the leaks start pouring in. Stay tuned, because this birthday celebration just turned into a scandal Claressa can't pray her way out of. Receipts. That word alone sends shivers down every celebrity's spine, and Claressa Shields knows it better than most. Because in this industry, rumors are just background noise until the receipts show up. And the whispers around Claressa's Vegas night with Lil Scrappy? They weren't just whispers anymore. They were building into a storm, with so-called screenshots and alleged eyewitness accounts threatening to crash through her perfect golden birthday facade. First came the anonymous DM leaks. Screenshots started circulating on fan pages, showing late-night conversations between a celebrity boxer and a rapper with ATL roots. The messages were vague but suggestive, loaded with winking emojis, late-night location drops, and that classic line, "Don't post nothing." Fans instantly connected the dots. Boxer equals Claressa. ATL rapper equals Scrappy. Could they have been fake? Absolutely. But in the world of celebrity gossip, perception is more powerful than truth. Once fans believe a screenshot, the damage is already done. Then came the so-called eyewitnesses. A woman on TikTok claimed she saw Claressa and Scrappy in the same VIP section at a Vegas club. She described Claressa laughing, leaning close, and at one point, leaving with Scrappy's entourage. Did she have video proof? Of course not. But she didn't need it. Her story spread like wildfire, clocking over 500,000 views in a day. And just like that, Claressa's birthday hashtags were drowned out by one phrase: Vegas scandal. Meanwhile, Tony Rich became the unwilling star of every meme. Photos of him looking serious, or worse, smiling next to Claressa at old events, were turned into captions like, "He bought her a bracelet. She bought herself a Vegas trip." The internet turned his silence into comedy, but behind the jokes was a very real question. How much humiliation can one man take before he walks away? Tony had been by Claressa's side through her rise, but every scandal chipped away at his image. And now, at the exact moment she wanted to project power and blessings, Tony was being painted as the gullible fiancé who everyone pitied. Claressa, of course, tried to stay above it all. She kept posting motivational quotes, training clips, even subtle digs about not letting negativity stop your glow. But those posts only fueled the fire. Fans called it gaslighting in real time, accusing her of trying to redirect attention instead of addressing the Vegas rumors head-on. And that's the thing about scandals. Silence always looks like guilt. Lil Scrappy, on the other hand, did what messy rappers do best. He played coy. He posted cryptic captions like "Some nights stay in Vegas, some don't." He liked comments that linked his name to Claressa. And in one live stream, when a fan asked him directly if the rumors were true, he smirked, leaned back, and said, "Y'all wild," before changing the subject. He didn't deny it. He didn't confirm it. He just let the speculation keep cooking. And that silence? It was louder than any confession. Now, let's talk about the deeper layer. Claressa's entire brand is built on being untouchable, the GWOT, the champion, the woman who can't be beaten in or out of the ring. But Vegas cracked that image. Suddenly, she looked vulnerable, even sloppy. Critics jumped at the chance, calling her reckless, saying her focus was off, even questioning if scandals like this could derail her legacy. It's the kind of PR disaster that doesn't just trend for a week. It sticks, like a stain you can't wash out. And the fans weren't holding back. One top comment under her birthday post read, "More forgiveness? More healing? Girl, that's exactly what you're gonna need after Vegas." Another said, "Golden year? More like golden distraction." Even people who used to defend her started switching sides, not because they were sure she did something wrong, but because she didn't give them a reason not to believe it. When you let the internet fill in the blanks, they always write the worst story possible. Behind the scenes, insiders whispered that Tony Rich was furious. Some say he confronted Lil Scrappy directly, demanding answers. Others claim he threatened to walk out of the engagement altogether. But none of it mattered, because the narrative had already been set. Tony was humiliated, Claressa was hiding something, and Scrappy was loving every second of the chaos. And the longer Claressa stayed silent, the more control she lost over her own story. And then came the supposed video. A grainy, shaky clip popped up on Twitter, allegedly showing Claressa walking into a Vegas hotel elevator with a man who looked a lot like Scrappy. The clip was blurry, the faces weren't perfectly clear, but that didn't stop it from going viral. Fans slowed it down, zoomed in, and declared it proof. Was it really Claressa? Was it really Scrappy? Hard to say. But when the internet decides something is real, truth doesn't matter anymore. The damage was done. Claressa's birthday celebration had officially turned into a circus. Every blog, every gossip page, every YouTube channel was covering the Golden 30 scandal. Headlines like Claressa's golden year tarnished by Vegas night and Lil Scrappy rumors haunt boxing champ dominated feeds. Even mainstream outlets picked it up, framing it as a classic case of a public figure whose private choices threatened her professional reputation. And let's not ignore the irony. Claressa wanted her 30s to start with blessings, healing, and growth. But instead, they started with betrayal rumors, humiliation for her fiancé, and memes mocking her brand. If this was growth, it was the kind that comes with pain, not glory. And if this was healing, it was more like ripping open an old wound. The sad part? Claressa had worked her entire career to be respected for her talent, not her drama. But in the end, the drama became bigger than the talent. And that's the tragedy of modern fame. No matter how hard you fight in the ring, one rumor outside of it can knock you down harder than any punch. But here's the twist. Insiders claim that Lil Scrappy wasn't the only man tied to Claressa's Vegas weekend. Rumors suggest another name, a high-profile figure, someone fans would never expect, was also spotted near Claressa during that trip. If true, this scandal isn't just about Scrappy. It's about a bigger betrayal, a deeper secret, and a story Claressa thought she could bury with a glittery Instagram caption. So the question remains, was Claressa's Golden 30 truly a celebration, or was it a carefully staged distraction from the receipts waiting to explode? And if those receipts go public, what will it mean for her career, her engagement, and her image as the undefeated GWOT? Because the truth always comes out. And when it does, the shine of that golden birthday won't blind anyone. It'll just expose the shame she tried to hide. Stay tuned, because this scandal takes us into the fallout. The fan revolts, the alleged confrontation between Tony and Claressa, and the shocking rumor that her golden birthday wasn't just overshadowed by Vegas, but destroyed by it. The fallout from Claressa Shield's so-called Golden 30 was nothing short of catastrophic. What was supposed to be a birthday glow-up transformed into a nightmare that refused to fade. For days, the Vegas whispers dominated every timeline, every gossip blog, every conversation. The internet wasn't celebrating her blessings anymore. It was dissecting her silence, mocking her captions, and waiting for her downfall. The receipts, whether real or fake, had already poisoned her image. The blurry video, the anonymous DMs, the TikTok eyewitness stories, all of it blended into a narrative too juicy for the public to resist. Claressa's strategy of ignoring the chaos only backfired. Fans accused her of arrogance, of thinking she was untouchable, and worst of all, of treating them like fools. Because once the internet feels disrespected, they turn from fans into predators. And Tony Rich? His humiliation had gone from a side note to the main plot. The man who once stood proudly beside Claressa now looked like a walking meme. Fans plastered his face over clown emojis, called him Mr. Golden Fool, and even questioned why he hadn't walked away yet. Rumors swirled that he had indeed confronted Claressa privately, demanding answers. Allegedly, the fight between them was explosive. Accusations flying, voices raised, trust shattered. One so-called insider claimed Tony packed a bag and left for days, refusing to even pick up her calls. Whether that was true or not, the silence on his end only made the speculation worse. Meanwhile, Lil Scrappy played his part like a seasoned villain. He never denied the rumors. He never confirmed them either. Instead, he leaned into the chaos, letting the ambiguity fuel his relevance. On Instagram Live, he laughed, telling fans, "Y'all reading too much into it. Or maybe not." That smirk, that refusal to clear Claressa's name, was all the internet needed to decide he was guilty, and so was she. The boxing world took notice too. Commentators and critics began questioning her focus. "You can't train for greatness while juggling scandals," one sports analyst said. Headlines shifted from her undefeated record to her personal mess, framing her as reckless and unfocused. And just like that, Claressa's hard-earned reputation as the GWOT started to erode. not because of a loss in the ring, but because of a loss of credibility outside of it. But here's the cruel twist. Some fans didn't even care if the rumors were true. For them, the scandal was entertainment. Even if she didn't do it, this drama is better than reality TV. One Twitter user joked. And that's the curse of modern fame. Truth doesn't matter. Entertainment does. Claressa had become a character in her own soap opera, Her Golden Birthday, the pilot episode of a show she never wanted to star in. As the noise grew louder, Claressa tried to clap back. She posted a cryptic message. People will always talk, but God knows the truth. Instead of silencing the drama, it reignited it. Fans flooded her comments with "so you're not denying it," and "this sounds like guilt wrapped in scripture." She thought her faith-based tone would shield her, but in reality, it only made her look defensive. The more she spoke, the guiltier she seemed. Tony's family allegedly stepped in too. According to another anonymous leak, his relatives urged him to end the engagement, telling him he deserved someone loyal, someone who wouldn't embarrass him publicly. Imagine the humiliation, not only being dragged online, but also having your own family tell you to walk away. Tony was trapped between love and pride, and every day that passed made his silence look more like surrender. And then, the ultimate betrayal rumor dropped, that Lil Scrappy wasn't even the only name tied to Claressa's Vegas trip. Whispers of a second man, someone with even more status, someone fans would never expect, began circulating. Screenshots allegedly hinted at another rendezvous, another layer to the scandal. If that were true, then Claressa's Golden Birthday wasn't just a night of bad optics, it was a full-blown betrayal marathon. Fans couldn't get enough. "She out here collecting men like championship belts," one comment read. Another said, "Tony's the only one who didn't get an invite to her Golden 30. The internet had officially turned on her. The narrative wasn't about blessings anymore. It was about betrayal, humiliation, and secrets. And Claressa had lost control of the story completely. But here's the question nobody wanted to answer. What happens when the truth finally comes out? Because scandals can only be ignored for so long. The so-called receipts were building. Bloggers teased exclusive leaks. Insiders hinted at proof. And the fear hanging over Claressa's head wasn't whether the rumors were true. It was whether she could survive if the world believed they were. By the end of that week, her birthday post, once meant to inspire, had become a meme. Her words about more forgiveness were screenshot, mocked, and repurposed into jokes. "Forgive me, I was in Vegas," one meme read. "Heal me, I was with Scrappy," read another. The captions that were supposed to crown her as a queen had instead turned her into a punchline. And yet, the most chilling part wasn't the memes or the jokes. It was the silence between her and Tony. Every time she posted, he stayed quiet. Every time she smiled for the camera, he was nowhere to be seen. The absence spoke louder than any words, confirming to fans that their relationship was fractured, maybe even finished. Claressa's Golden 30 had turned into her darkest year yet. Not because of a loss in the ring, but because of a loss of trust, a loss of control, and maybe even a loss of love. The woman who declared herself the greatest woman of all time now faced the possibility of being remembered not for her victories, but for her scandals. And the saddest part? She handed the internet the ammo herself, with a glittery post that tried too hard to hide too much. So, where does it end? Does Tony finally walk away, leaving Claressa to rebuild her image alone? Does Lil Scrappy drop the receipts and blow everything wide open? Or does Claressa somehow pull off the comeback of the century, turning her shame into triumph? At this point, anything is possible. But one thing is certain. The Golden 30 celebration Claressa Shields wanted the world to remember has already been rewritten. It's not about blessings. It's not about healing. It's not about growth. It's about betrayal, humiliation, and a Vegas night that refuses to disappear. And when history looks back, the question will always be the same. Was this the year Claressa Shields cemented her legacy, or the year she destroyed it? Stay tuned, because in the world of scandal, the story is never over. And for Claressa, the golden year has only just begun to unravel. So here we are, Claressa Shields wanted her 30s to shine with blessings, healing, and growth. But instead, she stepped into a storm of rumors, whispers, and humiliation that just won't let go. The Golden 30 wasn't about a crown. It was about a scandal. And Vegas? Vegas refuses to stay in Vegas. Because, let's be real, when the internet smells blood, they never stop biting. Lil Scrappy's smirk. Tony Rich's silence. Claressa's captions that sounded more like confessions than celebrations. Every piece of this puzzle screams drama. And the worst part? The truth still hasn't even fully surfaced. If the alleged receipts ever drop, the screenshots, the DMs, the videos, this entire birthday glow-up will look like the biggest cover-up of her career. So the question is, what do you believe? Was Claressa simply celebrating her new decade, or was she carefully hiding a Vegas night that could wreck everything? Do you see her as the GWAT, untouchable and blessed? Or do you see a woman scrambling to protect her image while her fiancé takes all the hits? One thing's clear, this story isn't over. Not by a long shot. Claressa's golden year has only just begun, and if Vegas whispers keep spilling, the shine on her crown could turn into the rust of regret. But now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Claressa really hid something? Or is this just another internet overreaction? Smash that like button if you want the truth exposed. And don't forget to subscribe to Celebrity Press. Because trust me, this is just the beginning. The next chapter is coming. And you don't want to miss what happens when blessings turn into betrayal.